can I invite Dr. Gurupur? He is a PhD in computer engineering and works at the University of Central Florida. He is going to take us through the journey of telemedicine in the US. And I hope that we will learn the good, bad, and the ugly of the US experience so that we know what we have to learn from him. Dr. Gurupur, please.
Thank you, Dr. Nambiar. Thank you very much for having me here at this great conference with some wonderful people. So, as I said, I want to be real quick. We did a research study a few years ago with the state of Louisiana on the challenges in implementing telemedicine. And the reason why we did this research study is because there was a doctor, he was an American doctor of Indian origin. He started a $2 million facility, an oncology facility to treat cancer patients in rural northern Louisiana through telemedicine. His idea was he could sit in Shreveport, and there were a lot of rural clinics which he would run using nurses and telemedicine and see how that was going to go. So telemedicine is a great promise. You know, we've seen some of this promise in the previous presentations, but there are some challenges in implementing telemedicine right here in the United States. So I want to discuss a few of those challenges and present what those challenges are. And some of those challenges could be common all over the world. So, but it's worth knowing. So our research area was northern Louisiana, that the area that is marked in green over here. And our team prepared an instrument with 9 questions focusing on perception, acceptance, other behavioral variables associated with telemedicine among patients and caregivers. And then we had 10 other questions focusing on demographics of, whether the person was at a high income level or a low income level, what is the level of education, ethnicity of the person, and other demographic variables. So we collected 147 data points. This study was also important from a scientific point of view because it was an integration of FIT and TAM frameworks. If you do not know about TAM is a technology acceptance model, and FIT is fit between individuals, task, and technology. Okay, so we try to see how our instrument integrates these 2 frameworks. So some of the very interesting factors of our research was that for this particular question, which is, I think the doctor will be able to understand me through telemedicine video, had a steady decline above the age of 40. So for folks with among younger generation, which is, I'm talking about younger generations of patients and caregivers, they liked or they didn't have a problem that there would be some communication gap. They thought the communication gap will not exist between the physician and the person through video. But as the as you saw increase in age of that particular person, you could see that they were somewhat cynical. And from my personal experience, I could see that working with doctors who are from the baby boomer generation here in the United States, many of them hate computers, they don't like technology, and they don't understand the value of technology so much because they belong to that particular generation. But among younger doctors, the generation X or the millennials, you would see them accepting technology for treatment more often. The other interesting finding was education factor. We categorized education in terms of some high school education, high school diploma, some college education, undergraduate college degree, graduate degree, and a doctoral degree. And it turns out that people with higher education level, like people who have a graduate degree, like telemedicine a lot more than the ones who had a lower level of education, maybe like a high school diploma, as we call it here in the United States, or some level of high school, like a high school dropout. There in that category, you would see a lesser acceptance or inclination towards telemedicine. They did not, you know, appreciate or had this idea that telemedicine would help them. And then the other factor was, as I said, you know, education was one of the factors. This was one of the questions. I feel telemedicine can reduce physician response. 88% who completed graduate degree agreed. 0% disagreed in that category. But, you know, less than high school, 50% agreed, 25% disagreed. The other factor that we looked at, and if you are doing a study in the United States, you have to be sensitive about this factor, especially if you're doing this in northern Louisiana, deep south, and where slavery and racial discrimination was very prevalent at one point of time. 49% of African Americans compared to 38% of Caucasian participants agreed to item 2, which was, I'm concerned about being able to understand what the doctor says through telemedicine. So universally, education and age can be universal factors in the acceptance of telemedicine. So that's our finding. And thank you very much.